YouTube, what is going on? Good evening, or whatever time it is when you come on this video. What is going on? It's been a while since we did a live, but it's a very auspicious day, so I thought I would throw one down here real quick for a little time that I've got. I was wanting to catch the view there. If you can see at the bottom, that little slice of blue sky out there, as the smoke cloud overtakes us. All that up top, that's all smoke. That's not cloud. That's California's burning in our area once again. So we got stuck with a little smokiness the last couple of days, and this big layer cloud of smoke come in this evening, and you can just see it where the boundary line is just north of us. So they're not getting in Reno. We're getting stuck with it, I guess. I don't know where this is coming out of. I actually didn't look into it, but such as it is, we've had a pretty good year dodging this to this point, and then this comes rolling in. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We haven't talked about a lot of things in a lot of while, but the auspicious nature of the death of the monarchy over across the pond, in particular today, popped up in the news, which is very significant in my mind. We know the rest of the lineage of the crown is very weak. This is really the last strong leader. We all know that they sidelined Harry, who was really the fire and vinegar part of the lineage. They sidelined him with that I don't know what she is, succubus. They sidelined him, and you got the oldest son now taking over, supposedly. So what happens with the monarchy as far as the NWO goes is going to be interesting to see how that plays out, if they just further absorb the deal with the monarchy, you know. Because it's one of those things, they could drag her out on life support, right? They could have drug her out for a while. I guess they would have, if they would have been on life support, they probably would have put what's his face in as king anyway, right? So I guess it was just a formality at the point, because they're not going to keep her on life support or anything like that, even though they could probably drag her out like they do Biden and like they do Rothschild and everybody else. When they get to that age, they just, you know, pump them up and whatever life supporting operations and stuff they can get. But I guess they didn't want to do that, so they moved on with their figurehead. And I don't know, we just got to keep, I just want to keep tabs on this and how it, you know, we recently had the Brexit, you know, as far as economically from the EU. Does that reverse now that EU is really getting to feel its oats against Russia and everything else? Like, how does the EU drag Britain back in somehow, with these weaklings coming back in, you know? But a lot, you know, everything's suspect. I mean, I haven't talked to you guys since we were all declared domestic tourists again. Most of us were already domestic tourists. We all knew that. And then Biden and the figurehead on this side of the pond comes out and, you know, declares it again, that, you know, all these criteria, which I think we've long known about for most of us on this channel, but incorporated a lot of people that we know that thought they were off the radar. A lot of people that we know that are friends, we're friends with, thought they were good. They're not, you know, enemies of the state. Oh, guess what, pal? Yeah, you are. You're on the same team. You just don't know it. You've been following the God Orange King so long that you've forgotten what your real role in all of this is. So that'd be nice. Let me check in. Everybody's here now. We got that off our chest. Watching the Queen. We got Ungrateful Peasant. What's up? Are you still out east, Wayne? Wayne's been pumping out a few videos that I've missed with good subject lines. I've just failed to watch them, Wayne. So I apologize, because I'm pretty sure that they're probably good videos. Rob Painless, what's up, Rob? Yeah, we showed up, Rob. Right. Hey, Rob, it's the article, the guy that wrote that article. I don't know who he is. He's a nobody. It's an opinion article. I just thought it was a good thumbnail. Hey, what's up, M. Long? And we can talk about that a little bit. As usual, this subject's been going on now for a good 6-7 years, right? Ever since Bundy Ranch, the Civil War, CW3, CW2, whatever, has been ongoing subject for a long time. So we can talk about that a little bit. We've always got good play out of that subject. Adventurous Guide to the Galaxy, what's up? When he's not making night vision videos, he's making home improvement videos. What's going on? Corsair, what's up? How you doing, Steve? There you go. Good point about the crypto-backed currency, right? That's kind of sliding in, pushing out the old ways. Another thing that's coming around as a result of this, or ongoing, they're pushing the crypto-based currency deal, and Queens gonna have to leave, royal families have to leave all their gold behind, right? Well, I doubt that that's going to happen, but they can use the young faces of the new generation to help push that stuff, I guess. Oh, Wayne, how long does before Megan makes this about her and racism? I assume that means racism, right? Right, they're keeping her out of the what would even be her title. I mean, we all know that she's never going to be. She was put in place specifically to take that young man aside and keep him from being on the throne, because he was the last chance of any sanity, because he was a free thinker from his mom's side, right? And the way his mom raised him. Henry was sidelined on purpose. So Megan's doing her role perfectly. I don't know how he got tied into that succubus, but it's unfortunate. If anything needs to happen right now, they just need to put a job vacant sign, no fill, no hire list, on the title there, and just leave it vacant. The throne is vacant. Abdicate. It's done. Wrap it up. Close it up. Close shop. The Brits consider it a cost-cutting measure. You're saving on money. But the Brits like their figurehead, just about like everybody on this side likes their figurehead. So on we go. Nobody rules England for the moment. Now's the time to take the throne, says Steve. I'm not sure. I think they've crowned William as soon as he was already there and everything. What's up, Pika? Good evening. What's up, Steve? Hey, Howie, what's up north? FFP, how you doing? You heard a video today that they're going to repurpose the empty downtown high-rise buildings to micro apartments, and read an article about companies are moving to do that now. So, Adventurous Guide to the Galaxy reporting from down in South Florida or mid Florida or wherever down there. That's interesting. Yeah, there's lots of the tiny home movement, the micro apartments, like people renting just enough space for a bed in big cities, like all that downsizing stuff, which, if you have to do it to, get by and, save your money, sounds like a good idea if you're of that age. But that lifestyle doesn't purport itself to the large nuclear family that we need to, get some economic development and get some real backbone going here, Mitchell Black, how's it going? Welcome to the chat. Right, Wayne, he was a decent guy. He was the guy, out there in Afghanistan throwing lead and stuff. He didn't hide behind his title and stuff. He was out there getting some. He didn't want to be a regular royal guy. He wanted to get out there and do the deed. That one right there earned him a lot of respect with a wide crowd, and then he got sidetracked and got sucked into the thought. Hey, Jay Ufam, what's going on? Long time no see. I have not seen you in a while. I haven't done a live chat in a while. Hope you're doing well. We did not get any flash flooding up here. We had some decent rain back in August, and we had a couple showers last couple days. But now we got this cloud. That cloud out there, that's smoke. That's the sky. This is smoke. I'm just showing you where the boundary line of the smoke that's coming in from California is at while we're chatting here. What's up, Texas? Speaking of Texas, Alabama going to Texas. We already talked about that, though. We'll leave that for the side chat. I think we got everybody saying hi in the chat, and Saints and Sappers joined us just in time. Right on. So yeah, the royal family up in upheaval that we're going to have, and how that's going to affect everything moving forward is going to be very interesting to watch, and just see how that ties in with everything else. The EU flexing its muscle and everything else. Don't take it for less than what it is. It's not just I think it's more than just a formality of, William taking the throne. I think there's more going on. I don't know what it is. I just think that there's more going on than just the formality of changing hands. Like I said, I would say leave it vacant and abdicate and call it good if you're the UK, and everybody go their own way, and Scotland can go do its ultra socialist programs, and everybody can do their own little thing, and Northern Ireland can be overrun by Ireland, and we'll have a good little time, or they will. Well, we'll just sit back and watch, I guess. But yeah, the domestic tourism outlook for this fall looking kind of interesting. The inflation issue that we've kind of tracked and been concerned about for a long time on here, but just continues to grow. I mean, there's so many examples. If anybody doesn't think that inflation is really bad, like 25-30% inflation, you should probably cut them off. Unless it's really close family, brothers, sisters, mom, dad. Unless it's somebody like that, anybody else, cut them off. Like, they're not worth your time, because it is just, I mean, it's amazing how every time you go to buy something, it's like, wow, how much was that? Wow, how much is this? Just because the gas came down 50 cents doesn't mean it's not everywhere else, and it's rampant. And I did a video a while back talking about the jobs market deal and how there's all these job openings, but yet fast food places can't stay open nobody's open 24 hours anymore. Walmart, fast food, you can't get nothing. The only thing that's open 24 hours is, gas stations on the freeway, or, major gas stations, convenience stores, which is fine, I guess. It just shows you that regression. And one thing we talked about years ago in my slow burn video, I always keep this in the back of my mind, talking about how the slow burn of an economic collapse, you're going to have this slow deterioration of specialty services, a slow deterioration of variety in what you can buy. Like, you go to the grocery store, you're not going to have as much variety. And I think that's playing out. I don't have time to go and document every single piece of variety, where you're missing a brand of cereal or a type of cereal or a soda type or anything. But one thing that pops in my mind immediately was like Taco Bell Mexican pizza's gone. The Taco Bell menu is used to be super varied. Now it's back to 10 items, and that's it, or whatever. There's been some real cutting back on things like that. You go to many places that prepare food, menu items are really cut back because of either supply issues, or they just can't maintain the menu with either the wait staff, the cooking staff, to even cook the product or whatever. Who knows how extensive the issues are. I don't think we know as much background to everything as we may think we do. But food service and everything seems to be hit the hardest, and it's not recovered at all. And it doesn't seem like it's going to. It seems like they talk about the new normal, like we're in the transition. I said it 2 years ago, this was the beginning of the collapse. It's just a process, and everybody thinks because there's not blood in the streets like every day outside their building that it's not, is fooling themselves. And you should definitely be taking steps and acting as if you are prepping for the next worst step, or taking action to deal with the next worst step. We've talked about the increasing crime. There's channels on here, people that talk about it, the increasing in crime and violent crime. They're promoting it more. They're promoting the violent tendencies of everything that's going around. So lots of those issues. But, you know, I can sit on the back deck and drink coffee in the morning and not see a problem. That's me. Steve can do that, I'm sure. Steve had I tagged Steve in a post last week where they had an emergency alert go out in his neck of the woods there in LA County, I guess. And he didn't get it, but a cell phone alert went out about a tsunami warning, major earthquake or whatever up and down it said something like Northwest Pacific, Central Pacific or something. And it was just funny because it was one of those, you know, warning alerts that shouldn't have went out and nobody checked it. I don't know how those things get out accidentally. Kind of having a little background on how the process goes on some of that stuff. Like, how does it accidentally go out? It's like that one for the nuclear warhead in Hawaii. Is like, these things just don't accidentally slip out. Like, there's a process that goes behind it. Hey, Corsair says we need a different name, a PC one instead. Sanitation maintenance technician. Tourist is not going to cover it. Okay, what's up, Eric? Eric's XJ, what's up? The sheep have gone back to sleep. A large portion of the sheep have hope in their wolf and sheep's clothing is a big problem. I said it, 16 days before the election in 2020. The worst case scenario is Trump loses, Biden wins, and this thing gets drugged through courts and this big legal process that keeps everybody hoping and hinging on Trump. And it's worse than I can imagine. It's like people are actually strung it out this long and are still like blinded to think that their God King is going to save them. It's like, oh my goodness, it's baffling how long this has been drug out. So there's sheep on all sides, and we're surrounded by them for sure, because it's easier that way. It's easier to, you know, ignore the prices and do the little things to help. You know, people try to ignore the inflation by just putting their head down and getting through it, and, you know, tightening their wallets on everything else. Or, as I've seen on some of the financial channels, people are just going into debt. People are racking up debts on a lot of cases just to pay some bills and eat now. Like, it's going on a lot more. I don't know, there's many stats I've seen on regular CNBC channels, stuff like that. The people who claim that, you know, this is transitory and the Fed's got it under control, yet they have these headlines on there like that. When you have, you know, 20% of the population that is going into debt in this situation, it was some number like that, 20 to 30%, that is like going deeper in debt because of inflation. That's a problem. That's not recoverable, among other things. But yeah, sheep are everywhere. Rob's starting to see real price hikes in the grocery stores. Took a while, but knew it was coming, right? Yep. The shrinkflation, as they call it, where packaging changes, is dramatic, and people really aren't thinking about it because the numbers just don't. You know, when you say $1.50 out of a $5 item or something, it doesn't seem that much. But when you look at it, that's 25% or 20% or something like that. That's serious inflation. And when the package shrinks more and the cost goes up as well, that's when you're getting upwards of 30% plus. People don't calculate that or don't logically think about it like that, so they kind of brush it off. But the grocery store stuff is just more and more significant, right? I'm behind in the chat, catching up here a little bit. Talon Stewart, welcome to the chat. Here in Georgia, governor expanded the ports. Georgia has a good food supply. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. we might actually go back to the days of having an economic advantage, or determining what our economic advantage is to do trade with other people, the way markets are supposed to work, the way economies function is by finding out where our really strength is, doing that to build our economics and trading with other people, whether it's across states or across countries or outside the country. Um, Everything's been so skewed. Me and my son had this conversation last week. Um, the whole China supply chain thing, it's all caused by fiat currency on both sides. They artificially kept their currency low and paid their workers crap, if anything at all, for that matter, um, to have that business. But that was only possible through fiat currency and through a central bank. Same thing has happened over here. All these things of artificial problems in the economy that aren't solvable until those things go away. So it's that huge, ginormous economic problem bubble, for lack of a better word, that will break at some point. That keeps getting shrunken, inflated. That it's going to come a big disaster at some point because people aren't actually doing the things that they're good at. They're doing the things that work for the time being based upon the economic factors forced on them by the central bank. We have them raising interest rates now. It's just causing another problem. It's just going to go on and on. So Rob asks, he's curious if Trump runs, gets the nod, will you vote for him? What good? I don't think it'll matter. I said it last time. I don't think it matters. I can't imagine. That's just pure insanity to think that this far into it, after everything we've seen, that people would still nominate him. But they're still determined. The foolish thing is to go out, people that are talking about this in this last couple of weeks, when Biden went hard on the MAGA crowd. He was real emphasizing the MAGA Republican thing in his speech, right? When he goes in hard on them, they dig in on the other side, right? Well, yes, I'm a MAGA. Yes, I'm this. Yes, I'm that. Just being the contrarian to a large extent, but not getting through the process. There's more to this than that. You got to get past this whole MAGA thing. I think, like we've said it, and we've talked about on here and other channels, and people have talked about it. There's no going back. You're not going back to 1950s America. You're not going back to, everybody playing nice. We're not going back to, we have to move forward. You have to get past this. You have to get into something new. It's going to have to be different. Organizing as a 50-state country is not going to function. You have to eliminate the power and central power in DC. It's the only way we're getting past this. Because while we're moving, the way this is going, even if the Orange God King gets elected, is centralized control in DC. And I said it in 2016 and before, Trump is primarily to destroy the Republican Party. And I think he's done a pretty good job of it myself. Even though he was president, didn't mean a whole lot when he's marginalized the hardcore conservatives who kind of have an idea of principles of liberty and freedom by focusing on this MAGA subject. And he's got them fighting against the corporatist Republicans who we all disagree with. So it's splitting and basically destroying the party, which the corporatists are pretty much Democrats anyway. We know this too. So it's just one of those weird things where it removes any semblance of political power while still getting people in their minds like we still have some political solutions out there. So it's a distraction, or distraction's the wrong word. It's really making people false hope that there's a political solution to this when there's obviously not. Did I see Lance Corporal Veteran check in? What's going on? Violent throes of a dying regime. I think you can say that, but I think we're just transitioning to a fascist regime. We're in that weird world between fascism and communism that we've never seen before because of the advanced economy and advanced technology, advanced communication that we have. So we're really not sure what it's going to look like. but we need to get ready for what's coming. Um, we can't expect it to be good, I think, is the thing to say there. Because I don't think that DC doesn't think it's dying. The powers that be don't think they're dying. They think they're gaining more control, and they're putting things in place to increase their control and their stability, not lessen it. And they're going to make us as unstable and poor and unable to support ourselves as possible to do that, if that's what it takes. And that's what it's going to take, because the more independent and sustainable we are on our own, the less we need them, and they can't have that. So, and that's flip that over to China, Russia, anybody else. It's the same story. I've been, that Russian-Ukraine thing from the get-go has been suspect. And I'm kind of on the point now where basically what started in 2014 with the EU bank trying to undermine Ukraine, Russia's just doing their part, and they're just ripping apart Ukraine, which is one of the last few independent countries in Europe. At the time, back, go back to 1991 when or early 90s when they separated from Russia, like very independent, very self-sustaining country, and they've slowly been deteriorated, and now here they are getting ripped apart by both sides, because the EU doesn't care about the Ukrainian people. They're taking advantage of them, and they're going to rip their economic prosperity out, because that's what they've been trying to do for 7-8 years now, and they're just really getting their fingers into them, and now Russia's playing their part, in my opinion. So nothing comes out of that situation other than destroying Ukraine. Adventurous Guide says this will be worse than fascism or communism because the technology is way more advanced. Right. Like Demolition Man. Well, the books, 1984, Brave New World, all those things kind of give a glimpse of possibilities, because of the technology. We just don't have the Matrix. How bad could it get? How could it go? What's some of those others that just have a partial, one side or one part of what it could be like a Minority Report, kind of from that end, what it would look like from that side of, the deal. But the whole idea of you'll own nothing and you'll like it is very, very strong out there. Genomics. Now, my son has a big brain, and his brain never stops, right? So he had this discussion, and his thought process and what he was reading and what he's involved in or chatting about or talking about with people, he sees polygamy making a comeback. And I was trying to grasp this because socially it doesn't fit with the current, pushing of feminism, right? But genetically, and some of the other stuff it was his part of that argument was that, especially economics, is more and more the top 5% or whatever get the wealth. Like, that's how it would really push polygamy into that percentage of the population. And I'm like, it's a theory. It's interesting he brings it up. I'm like, I wasn't thinking along those lines, but I see where he's coming from. Like, you could have a return to that, especially around the ultra rich, however they got their money, it doesn't really matter. Going to more to a polygamous group future in that respect. I don't know how that ties in with other issues, but it's a theory. Talk about genomics or genetics. And there was some more behind it. I don't want to shortchange it. There was some more backing of it, but I just thought it was a good theory. I don't know that we have much more than a theory. So, what's it been here? 30 minutes now. Thanks for checking in, everybody. We had a good crowd. Telling Stewart says it never left. It's changed its name to polyamory. Well, polyamory is basically women are the head, right? And I made that argument. I thought that was the way it would go because of feminism, because of the way it marginalizes men and the masculine ideal and stuff. Like, that's the way it would go. That was my argument. against that. Like, I think it would go more this way if it does that at all. But then he made his explanation about um, males have a higher target population, if you will, of suitors. Males are more flexible on what women look like in particular, whereas women have this very narrow ideal. He brought up height the other day, how women are so focused on being 6 foot or taller when that's way taller than the average, right? So there's this perception and this thing, with that and physical traits and stuff that he brought up. But yeah, we had a little back and forth. I thought that was an interesting thought. I don't know how it would work out in the collapse, like Adventure Guide says, with the chaos, if it would fit better in a collapse or less. Like in a collapse, you think it would kind of have to percolate down and be less likely. But I see what you're saying. In the chaos, you seek security. The strong warlord type has security with whatever stuff they have, money or otherwise. So that's what would gravitate towards, like Negan in The Walking Dead, basically, kind of situation. It'd be an interesting, provide that security type of deal. I don't know if the Mormons were right, Steve, but they're still out there. A lot of them just left the country to practice their ways. Hey, what's up? Let's talk about prepping. Good to see you on that chat the other day. You did a good stuff. We've all been UA, I guess you would call it, from the YouTube a lot the last couple years in particular. Steve's about the only one that has held down the fort for a long time, and then Wayne's picked up his pace lately too. But like I said, it's mostly about just doing the things. The time for, I don't know what to tell people. It's like you're in the collapse of everything, and everything you think is normal is changing rapidly, and you better wake up to it and figure out what you're going to do. If you just want to go along to get along, if you're still focused on the 9 to 5, and if you're younger and you're just focused on going to college and getting that degree and making the big money, like the 401k and the IRA, all that, the stuff of the last 30 years, 40 years, like you need to change your outlook and change your processing because it's not gonna be the same. It's just not. I just don't see, especially the digitization, as I think it was Wayne mentioned up above, digital fascism. So many things are putting us on notice. Lance Corporal Veteran harvested the garden. Right on. Yeah, the heat wave has been bad here. The garden is, I've had some success. The zucchini's been great. The corn I've gotten a little bit of corn, but it's just not, my pumpkins didn't do good. I'm waiting I don't even have watermelon ripe yet. Last year I had watermelon in July. I know I planted 2 weeks late this year, but man, it's like, oh, I could use some watermelon in this heat wave, right? So it's been kind of like, I got some good carrots. I had some good carrot success. Onions are great. Onions are hands down the winner. No, I wouldn't say perfect, but 90% solution on the onions this year. So that's been great, food wise. But a lot of disappointment in some of the stuff. I need to get the four-hoofed creatures pared down still, and cull the herd a little bit. Like I said in that short video that I did the other day, there are people, this is anecdotal to the area right now, so what we're seeing, but people are giving away breeding stock and high value animals because they don't want to feed them and feed it so high. So you're talking all types, from horses all the way down to goats, and pigs and everything in between. Everything, breeding, high quality heritage breed animals that people, are $300-400 animals plus, probably, depending on their lineage, that are being given away or trying to be given away. I don't know if they're successful, because everybody's having a hard time feeding. and that might cause I don't know how widespread it is, but if you have everybody going to market with their animals right here before winter, you could have a surge of meat coming into the market and lower prices initially. So maybe now, between now and December, you might see a little drop in meat prices. Stock up if you see that. I would advise that now. Check, all your meats. Don't be picky. Don't be looking for just a Christmas ham. Look for everything the wide variety, and see if you get a drop in prices at any sales at any time, or one item stocked heavily than others in your area, and look to put that in the freezer or something, because I could definitely see where after December, after that fall slaughter has went and processed through the market, there won't be a big pickup in come spring. There won't be a surge in supply like you might usually get, because people were basically capitulation, as I said in the word of the day. People are capitulating to the market, and I don't know if how it's going to affect big farmers, but they usually can absorb the price and pass it on. The small time people, there's a trickle down at some point. How it affects everybody, I'm not sure, but keep an eye on your meats, as probably most of you are. But I found that definitely an item of interest to keep an eye on. So it was good, everybody, to see you coming out here. Glad to join the chat. I'm gonna have to cut out 36-minute mark. It's been good though. Good to catch up with everybody. Let's Go Veterans watermelon was a loss. Gophers killing your squash. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That sucks. My squash plant, produced a little bit, and then it kind of died out. Sunflowers looked really good. I had that in the short video I did. Was it yesterday, I think? Put that in the short. I'm going to be doing some more of the Ron Paul shorts. Whether or not you like them or not. Spread the word. It's interesting. It goes to show the YouTube algorithm is hard at work. Or maybe not hard at work, but it works. Because I had the video a couple days ago, the shorts, because these shorts are like the new thing, right? The YouTube's really pushing these shorts as like a way to grow your channel. They send you these emails saying, hey, do shorts. They promote them more, whatever. People are going to see you, right? America's short attention span at work. I did the short video on capitulation and compared the numbers with what I got for the short video on it was a hot summer day, right? Those numbers were drastically different from my capitulation video. You go to the Ron Paul video, it's like not even in the same, it's like my normal numbers. It's like the same numbers I get for any video. Those shorts can get 2,000 views or whatever from somebody, I don't know who, when you just talk about nothing or you show nothing. But as soon as you put Ron Paul's words into a video, oh man, that thing's got isolated in a corner and beaten with a stick. So I find that interesting, but I'm still going to do them. A Ron Paul 2012 channel that's still around shared it. His floor speech was 10 years ago, so they just put the floor speech in a video and pushed it out there. So I basically took that snippet out of there, because with shorts you can now create videos with the audio from another video. So I just clipped that and put it on a video. So I'm gonna do some more of that. We're 10 years later and this is spot on, just dead on. Like, not that we all didn't know it anyway, but it's another one of the ways to show people like, hey, maybe we should have listened to this guy. Somebody should have. So I'm gonna roll out, guys. Appreciate it. Guns Coast to Coast showed up just in time, just about ready to say, and Walter Davis. What's up, Walter? Good to see you out there on the East Coast and everything. But y'all have a good evening. We will talk to you guys later. Stay frosty, prep hard, live free.